Our experience was from the very beginning very positive. I really liked that when we met Dimitrios, and he was just so positive and explained everything that was needed to be heard, but he listened, and I think that was important, that he listened to what we had to say. We had a great feeling that this was the man that would look after us. We had confidence in him. He was sincere, and to me, he felt very trustworthy.
I think that's the big thing that comes over, that he was trustworthy and he told us the truth, and that's pretty hard to go past.
Gosh, I enjoyed absolutely. This sounds strange because was such a big deal for us, which probably goes back to when our first meeting. This is two people who have never lived in any other home in our married life.
Yep, correct.
This is it. We built here 43 years ago, and to sell is a big decision. And to get somebody on board that you could communicate with, that you felt really comfortable with. And Dimitrios and Evonne just did so much work to make this transition as good as it was. Seamless from the beginning, as far as reliability, as far as informing us what was happening through the campaign, to everybody coming through. He was in contact during the times that people were actually coming through our house. If there was some little query that he wasn't sure of, he was very quietly, I knew there was someone there, and asking me a simple question, and one of the silliest ones was that maybe you can see there's a fire in the background, and so many people wanted to know, was it real and did it work? And he had to ask that for the first time, and he wasn't afraid to find out little things at the very beginning that he needed to know about the house. He gave us the feedback we needed, not only from the portal, but verbally. He would speak to us and tell us what was happening. And from day 3, I think it was when we actually had our first bid. And I'm sure we'll talk later about the online auction, but knowing what was happening from a very early stage was just so important, and to be able to have a look and see what the feel of people were. And I can't find a fault. I just couldn't believe how well it worked.
I think the thing that I enjoyed the most was from the very first time there was lots of people that wanted to see our house, and I think that only comes from someone who was working the market.
Yes.
Well.
And who knew the area and knew what was around, and was familiar in this particular territory. He knows the territory. Yeah.
Well, I was quite surprised at how well it worked. And for me, it was better than having a traditional auction, in that only the people who were interested in buying were involved. And there went 25 people out the front of the house for the auction with me inside, scared stiff about what was happening.
Oh, it was just an amazing experience. And from day one, and as soon as to learn that from day one, when your property goes on the market, then the auction is actually live and starts, whereas there is a final date, as we know it was going to be much later. But to be able to get a feel for what your house is worth at a very early stage, and we reached our reserve, I think 5 or 6 days after the house had been opened, maybe a little longer, it wasn't much. And to know that we were going to auction that night, because Dimitrios and Evonne brought the auction forward because we'd reached our reserve, and we went to auction, and we knew at that time when a normal auction had started, that was it, that was where the figure was, and we'd reached our reserve at the time that the auction started, and it was just the most amazing feeling because that was our reserve, and then it just went berserk from there on. We were amazed, we were nervous, we were surprised, we couldn't believe what was happening. It was just fantastic to be part of it, and the Openn auctioning system, I believe, just works so well. There's no people involved on screen. It's for all of you who may know, it's watching a clock tick down and listening to the ding of people bidding and knowing it was going up and up and up. All Dimitrios' hard work had just all of a sudden, in 35 minutes, I think it was, that it took to happen, it just all came together, and we're much later now, but still absolutely blown away by the results. And I don't believe in my heart that we could have got this if it had been at a normal auction. I think the hesitancy of people standing at an auction, a little hesitant to raise their hand in front of everyone, is very, very different to pushing a button on a screen. And I think it gives them 2 minutes to make up their mind and feel confident about what they're doing. And I think it's a great way to go, and I hope it continues. Goodness, in many ways, hasn't it? Go on.
Oh,
you can.
I think that the extra money we received from the auction just makes our life a little bit more comfortable, and it makes what we've planned to do an even better decision now with the result from the auction.
And to be able to help our daughter out and help them move on while we're alive, to see the smiles on the face. We certainly would. In fact, we've already had some quite good success rates in a week of people that have wanted to know, my goodness me, what a great result, and seen the sign out the front, which was my request for Dimitrios and Evonne to put our price on the board out the front, because I just think that's fabulous advertising for the area as well as for Dimitrios and for Evonne. And I think they've had a couple of calls and been able to give an appraisal on a property already. So yes, we'll be giving our approval for both of them as well as Eview.
In life, you are asked on lots of occasions, would you recommend this service or that service to your friends? Couldn't have got a better result. I'd recommend them in a second.
Yes, yes, exactly. It was just always so easy, just such an easy transition to be part of, having them there, and never once did they, the calmness of Dimitrios amazes me, and it always will. And I don't know whether it's the whole duck under the water with the feet scrambling and it all looks good on top, but his calmness brings it, and I need someone like that in such an important decision in your life to keep you calm, and he can do that.
I think it gives you confidence when you're in a panic state, that he seemed so calm.
Yes.